According to the World Federation of the Deaf, there are 70 million people in the world who use sign language to communicate. This is the only medium through which deaf people communicate their feelings and emotions. In an event dubbed Talking Hands, organizations in the sign language community spoke about the silent world of deaf people, encouraging all Kenyans to learn the language to achieve an inclusive society. Let's take a listen. When GBS TV walked into the arena of the Talking Hands event at the University of Nairobi, the chatter and energy of the participants sharing stories and smiling made us feel like we were stepping into a whole new world that our minds couldn't decipher. Music and dancing took over shortly, and this left those of us in the hearing world perplexed as we weren't aware that deaf people could respond to music. We were later enlightened that they can through vibrations, so they know the different genres of music, be it amapiano, bongo flavor, or even gengetone. This ignorance is what some Kenyans have towards this community, and as human beings, when you're unable to understand something, it is easy to put it aside or give no mind to it. This is what Minnie Mbesa of the Kenya Sign Language Interpreters Association debunked about the silent world of the deaf in our communities.
Take them as your brothers and don't see them as a bad omen, because that is what people have been thinking about them, saying these people are castes, and people are wondering, mnarusha mikono aje. They are people who cannot communicate, who can't do anything. But to be very honest with you, being in the deaf community, it's one of the best communities that you can ever have, because we call it a silent world. And for them, they can't hear the noises. At times, you ask a deaf person, do you want to be hearing? They'll tell you no, because they enjoy it. And sign language is cool, as we always say. At least we can, we are not saying we are gossipers, but at least with sign language we can gossip. We can gossip a person without knowing. As in, it's one of the beautiful languages.
Additionally, she decried that the media has sidelined the deaf community by having a small box at the bottom of the screen for sign language, as you can see right now, stating that deaf people also needed to understand what is being said, not only during news hours, but also in other programs.
We can see our media houses, though a lot has not been achieved when it comes to media houses. Most of the media houses have sign language interpreters, but they only offer sign language interpretation just only during the primetime news. But this is something that needs to be, at least in every program, should be having a sign language interpreter for it to be fully inclusive. And apart from that, the box, the sign language, the size of the sign language interpreter, at times it's too small for the deaf people to see. And as we all know, sign language is a visual language, and the deaf people need to see. So you find at times they miss the information, and we always say information is the key to everything.
The event dubbed Talking Hands was in the culmination of the month of September that carried activities of Deaf Awareness Week and the International Day of Sign Language. We spoke to James Kariuki, a member of the Nyayo Deaf volleyball team, to understand his world.
We've got different deaf who are born in the village areas, and they are not able to interact with the rest of the deaf people. So for them, it finds it's very hard, and maybe the parents are not maybe understanding the language, so it becomes a problem to them. So the other thing is that maybe when it comes to conflict, so you find yourself maybe having a good, you also feel that you're not part of it. So you just feel like you are excluded of the group, so it makes us feel that we are discriminated. So for us, it's a very big challenge, but we thank God, we normally cope with it. Yeah. And also going to the doctor's hospital, so it also becomes a problem in everything, in expressing yourself. So it's a problem. It's very hard for us.
Some of the challenges that sign language interpreters face are quacks who declare themselves professionals only after 3 months of training. According to Minnie Mbesa, it takes time and constant interaction with deaf people to be a skillful interpreter.
Might be a short course for 9 months, but it will take you 4 to 5 years to be a professional interpreter through interacting with the deaf. And it's a daily interaction. It's not like you interact with them today and then you go missing for months, you come back. No, daily interaction of 4 good years for you to be a professional interpreter.
The Constitution of Kenya under Article 7 recognizes 3 national languages, that is English, Kiswahili, and Sign Language, that have since been relegated. In a bill sponsored by nominated MP Omulkhair Umi, learners in primary schools could soon be required to take Kenya Sign Language as a compulsory subject if the proposal before Parliament is adopted. The proposal contained in the Kenya Sign Language Bill 2023 seeks to mainstream sign language and integrate it into the school curriculum.
So to the people out there, please embrace them. Just show them some love. If you don't understand what they are saying, tell them to write. They know how to write because people think deaf people are not educated. We have deaf lawyers. For example, Ashura Michael. We have deaf commissioners. For example, Washington Sati, who works at the office of the Ombudsman and is the vice chair of that office. So we have Commissioner Richard Mativo, who works under the office of the president. So deaf people are educated, so if you feel that you cannot communicate, you can just do some simple writing and they read and they'll understand.